Welcome to In the Shop, a video series that aims to help CNC machine operators overcome challenges routinely encountered on the shop floor. I'm your host, Kevis Mitchell. In this episode of In the Shop, we're going to focus on building a solid base for tool and cutter grinding, starting with the most foundational aspects of preparing a grinding process, wheel preparation. We'll discuss some of the finer points of building your wheel pack, dressing, balancing, and measuring. We'll touch on what often gets overlooked by newer operators and share some of the best practices that even the most seasoned operators can benefit from implementing. Your grinding wheels are the Achilles heel of your grinding machine. They are the things that break down, wear over time, and are consumed during the grinding process. Making sure the wheel pack is built using proper protocols is absolutely essential for the tool and cutter grinding machine operators to achieve optimal results. An improperly assembled wheel pack will produce inaccurate parts and will shorten the life of your machine's critical components, such as spindle motors. We're here in our Solution Center with one of our engineers, Chad. Chad, what are you going to show us today?
Well, Kevis, today we're going to talk about the most basic and critical aspects of tool grinding. We're going to talk about wheel packs. I have my program wrote, and so I know what type of wheel pack I need to build. So we're going to walk through, we're going to take a blank wheel arbor. We're also going to add our wheels to it. So we'll assemble our wheel pack. Then we're going to go and we're going to dress our wheels. And then we're going to put them on the wheel balancer. After we've done that, we're going to take them to our Healy check and we're going to measure the wheels and get all the data that we need to input into our program. Once we do this, this will help us achieve the correct geometry that we need to run on our tools.
This will be great information for operators.
Definitely. Let's get started and let's assemble a wheel pack. So when I assemble a wheel pack, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to place my balancing rings on. So we put them on 180 degrees apart, and I'll clamp them to this arbor. Then I'm going to add my wheels. And then I'm going to tighten them. Now the wheel pack's assembled.
So Chad, now that you've got the wheel assembled, what's the next step?
Now we need to dress the wheels. So now you'll see that we have the wheels on the dressing machine because we need to come in and we need to dress the wheels to ensure that there's no outer round, that we have sharp edges. If we need to dress certain geometry onto the wheels, we can. It's such as if we need to put a radius on the wheel or if we need it sharp. This way we can guarantee we have the right wheels that we need for the job.
So in dressing the wheel, are you removing material from the wheel?
Yes, we're refurbishing the wheel pretty much.
How long does that process normally take?
Well, with dressing wheels is something that you do want to take time with because it is an important operation. So you want to be sure that you're sparking out wheels and that you're getting a good clean surface and that you don't have any outer round left.
So after the wheel is dressed, what's the next step?
Well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to balance the wheel.
What does that entail?
So with our wheel balancer, we're going to put it in and it's going to check it. And then we're going to put it in here and we're going to spin the wheel to find where the weights are off at.
So that's a little bit like when you go to the auto dealership and they balance the tires. Is that similar?
It is similar. So it's spinning it. It's going to ask me, and then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees. It'll spin it again. So it'll spin it again. And what this is doing is now it's calculating where do we need to place the two weights at.
So I noticed that there's a laser on that balancing wheel. What is that doing to help with the process?
So the laser on the balancer, what it does is after it calculates where the weights need to be, it'll have two segments where I need to place my top and my lower weight's at. So then now I can rotate it, I can lock it into position where it marks it at, where it's marked on the ring. And then I can go to the other placement and I can mark it where it's marked also.
That's great information. Let's go to Simon Mans for some more information on how this process works.
Thanks, Kevis. Okay, let me show you why correct wheel geometry is important. I'm going to use a step tool as an example. Let's say we have a wheel. It has a diameter and a length that we've measured on our measuring machine. We put these values into the software, and the software calculates a certain position for the wheel to touch the step of the tool. If we've assumed that this radius on the wheel is 0, or we just take the defaults that are in the program instead of the actual measured values, the wheel will position like this. But the real wheel if it has a radius on it, looks like this. It's the same diameter, it's the same length, but the grinding point is here and not here. This means your step length will be off because it's using the wrong part of the wheel. Calculated with the values you put in, but the real wheel on the machine is a different shape.
Thanks, Simon. So what's our next step?
So Kevis, our next step is now we need to measure the wheel. So we'll put the wheel in the Healy check and we'll start measuring.
So the Healy, how many different types of machines do we have that do measuring, and why is that important?
So all of our Healy checks have the basic wheel measuring software. So when we put it in there, it's using a camera with a backlight, so it's like a shadow. So it comes in and it measures the diameter. It'll measure the length. We'll also measure the radius. It measures the angle of the wheels. So we'll come in and it'll pick up all this criteria and data that we need to give the machine.
So wait a minute, you're telling me that the machine is measuring the dimensions of the wheel pack without actually touching it?
Yes, it's just all optics to measure.
That's fantastic. So what else is entailed in this measurement?
Well, with these, all the data I achieve, now I get the correct data to put into my machine. So now it knows the placement of the radius, what size radius is, if it's using it when I'm grinding the tool. So it gives me all my correct information I need to run the tool the correct way.
That's amazing. That's some really good information. So what's the next step in this process?
Well, now that we have the wheel measured, we've dressed it, we've also balanced the wheel. Now we just need to go and we're ready to grind tools.
Thanks, Chad. That was really good stuff.
You're welcome.
Well, guys, thank you very much for participating with us during this episode of In the Shop. This is some really good information, and we're sure it's going to help all of the machine operators in the future. If you follow the process correctly, you're going to be guaranteed to get good results. If you have any more questions on what we're doing, or if you have any suggestions for what we should cover for next time, please leave it in the comments below. I'm Kevis Mitchell, and I'm really grateful that you came here and watched us through this episode of In the Shop. Have a great day.